What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catropalia sitting on the couch, making some money, investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. It is time for this week's installment of the 52-week challenge. If you don't know what that is, this is where I share all of the fractional real estate that I bought this past week. Doing this in an attempt to motivate other people. You know, some people are sharing with me what they bought. I'm sharing with them what I bought. They're doing it through the comments, through the Discord, a lot of people through DMs. Just a way for us to not get stuck in that analysis paralysis where we're just looking at deals over and over again, but not actually pulling the trigger on anything. It's another somewhat slow week for me for buying stuff, but I'm going to jump into what did I buy this week. Okay, first off, on ground floor, picked up 2 pieces of LROs, and that's it. I had 2 pay off, picked up 2 more. I still have a little cash in here, so that leads me to believe that there aren't any available that I don't already own a piece of. Yeah, holding. You know, that are LROs, right? Like these second liens. I'm just ignoring all the ones that you have to be an accredited investor. I've been trying to keep this channel just with just with the stuff that everybody can buy. And so I'm ignoring those completely, which is what's keeping me out of these second liens and some of the others. But I think that's it. I think that I have a little piece of every one that they have available. So I haven't really been able to build, I've kind of got stuck around this, in the 1 teens. What did I just do here? Get back to that portfolio. I've been basically paying off about the same speed that I'm adding new loans. I don't love it. I mean, it's over 100 is, something, but I was really hoping to get back to, I haven't even gotten back to where my prior peak was before they did that artificial sell-off. I've really been hoping to get to like 150 or 200 LROs at any given time. Maybe that's just not realistic. Gonna keep working towards that. And then the goal is to get there and then to start to increase the amount I'm putting in each one. But maybe I'm just going to have to start increasing it sooner. I don't know. We'll see. So far, it's been now several months since they did that artificial payoff. And so that's my real worry, right? I don't want to put a bunch, because I had to take some capital off the platform at that point because they didn't have anything for me to reinvest in right away. And so I just don't want to be in that spot again where I have something pay off and I've had, and I've put a bunch more on here and then I've just got cash sitting there with no place to go. I don't like that at all. What I'm really hoping to get out of this platform is consistency. And I think the way to really experience that is have a very broad diversification. Anyway, that's what I bought on here. Just these 2 LROs. On Lofty, I bought 3 different properties. Garden Gate, I talked about this last week or maybe 2 weeks ago about why I pulled the trigger on this one again. It's a property in Harvest, Alabama, long-term rental. S&P Property Management is just recently took this over. I wanted to be involved in one of their deals, give them a little bit of support on that side. I think that, they're both people that have been very active in the space. And so, if I can pick up a few tokens and, throw my vote in with theirs when necessary. But it's also a property that I think is valued. I think it has really deep value. Right? If we just sold it today, relative to what I've been picking up tokens for, I think we'd do very well. And the only thing that has hurt the pricing on this really has been all the discussion around buying Bitcoin inside this entity. There hasn't been any actual problem with the property itself. It's relatively new property. It's had pretty stable income. Average yield over the last 12 months, 7.36%. I think mine is actually a little bit higher than that. Excuse me, because I got in below, the current token price. But so this is a deal that I've been in and out of a few times as the price has fluctuated quite a bit. But I think it's a great deal, especially around that $25 price point. Right now it's at $28. Still not bad. I want to remind everybody, I'm not putting new money on Lofty right now, and I have been slowly moving cash off. When I am making these purchases, it's just because I'm selling out of other properties or using the rent that's accumulating within my account. I still think there's a whole bunch wrong with the platform, and it's a very, I would say I'd say it's probably the highest risk platform that I'm invested on, just from a couple of perspectives, right? From the perspective of the people running the platform have made several decisions that have just hurt us as investors. They seem to make them somewhat arbitrarily, um, and without a lot of warning. They'll create a new rule, like when they froze trading on properties. They're like, oh well, now we're more concerned about what's happening to, the USDC stakers. So we're going to make sure there's no arbitrage happening, once the property's listed for sale, even though it might be listed for sale for a very long time. Stuff like that has made it worrisome, right? Like, and the fact that, the average token has gone down close to 40% in value from launch. So I'm avoiding that risk by buying ones that are, I bought these mostly closer to 25. And so that gives you, that loss has already occurred. But if things continue to go wrong in the ecosystem, you could see the average token price to continue to decline, right? And so that's the risk here. We've seen all sorts of other issues as well. But, so it is... just because I'm continuing to buy tokens on here, I don't want that to come across as an endorsement of the platform. I think that there's a whole lot that they need to change before it's a place where, a lot of just typical retail investors will be happy and safe to jump in, buy stuff and not just get surprise wiped out, for one reason or another. But if you're doing a lot of due diligence, if you're really making sure you understand the deals that you're buying them at a decent price, I am still getting very, very good returns on here. All right. What's next? I talked about this one, I think, a little bit last week as well. This is a property in Kansas City, Kansas, another long-term rental, one that I've held actually for a very long time. My initial tokens are probably at a loss on this, but have averaged down quite a bit. It's provided a yield. It was a very steady yielder until the tenant moved out earlier this year, and then we just haven't been able to get another tenant in there. So it's been vacant for a very long time. We are just voted to list it for sale. Excuse me. I'm fairly certain that it will sell for an amount that I'll be very happy with based on the current market price. So I've just been picking up a couple of tokens here and there, mostly just when my rent's been accumulating. And then the last one, and I don't know that we've talked about this one in a while, I picked up some tokens in Colfax. This is 2 small multifamily properties in Chicago. We have a somewhat complex deal to sell one of the properties in the works already. This is it's not a location that I'd want to hold anything long term. There's been tons of problems with squatters, problems with people stealing the copper. I couldn't imagine a more difficult, it'd be hard to find a property that's going to be more difficult to run than this. But the token prices are $14 per token. If you look at Earl's sheet, I think he's got an NAV for this, net asset value. With his assumptions, is somewhere around 30. I don't have any strong disagreements with any of the math he's done on there. It's just I haven't, I'm not exactly sure that's where we end up. But I think with the price point that we're at, with the fact that we already have one sale in the works, I think it would return a significant amount, relative to what I bought in for, and then hold the other one at a discount. And then hopefully we sell that one too, right? I mean, my thoughts on Lofty, most of the value that I'm making comes from buying tokens, and we sell those properties in real life. I've done very well with that strategy so far. So basically, that's what I mean when when I say like Lofty is just not, I'm not trying to buy and hold things on there. I have a couple that I've bought, that I'll hold on to. But for the most part, I think that the real opportunity is the fact that the tokens trade at a discount to the real world value on average. And so we have to figure out, well, okay, how do we actually realize that value? For most of the properties on here, I think that the real answer is we just sell them in real life and then we get some cash. That's, a really nice pop relative to what we paid for them. If you can do that quickly, you can get really high annualized returns. I have had some not go so well. I think currently my average, it had been up in the high 20s, but I had that real a large one relative to the rest of my portfolio in Odom that did not do so well, and so it brought my average down to like 17% returns. But you have to remember, none of those were held for a full year. Maybe a few of the Odom tokens, but not most of that investment. So 17% return, probably on average less than 6 months to get that. So annualized returns on my, token flips, buy the token, sell the property, so far, probably over 30%. But now I've got one coming up with Penhurst that's, I think it's going to be my first loss. I'm fairly certain on that. I don't know why it hasn't paid out yet, but so we're waiting to hear on that. I forgot earlier, please like and subscribe. In the description to this video, I have links to all the places where I currently invest in fractional real estate online. Please do your own due diligence before using any of those links. You want to make sure you're comfortable with the platform and any properties that you decide to buy on there. Don't just do it because I am. I also have a link set up to the Discord that you can join. That's just all fractional real estate investors talking about lots of different platforms. Feel free to jump in there. There's a section for the 52-week challenge, so you can talk about what you bought this week as well. What else? Oh, and I do have a update video on my Mogul returns coming out tomorrow. We just got those dividends today. They also had their webinar. Lots of interesting stuff. I just didn't, I put this video out every week, so that will be pushed till tomorrow. I think that's really everything. I am curious what you bought this week, what you think about what I'm buying. If you think, I know there's a lot of people that keep telling me you're just throwing money away on Lofty. So far, that has not been the case. I did take about a third of my capital off the platform, and I have significant, I'm making, like I said, significant returns. So it's tough for me to give it up completely, especially because I think the model is one that has a lot of merit. I think the execution is just very poor right now. And so until there's another platform with, built around the same idea, where it's, really a marketplace where people can bring their own properties to list, stay on board and whatnot. We just don't see that somewhere else. And so I think that's what makes it, partially a pretty sticky platform, right? Like, one, the opportunities, right? The super cheap tokens, obviously that is not, whether that's a feature or a bug, it depends on when you bought those tokens, right? Or at what price point. But also too, just the level of community that you end up with on Lofty is different from everywhere else, because you have, you do have voting, you do have discussion and decision making on a much more active level than any other platform. And so you have people that, you start to find other people that like to invest in the same kind of deals as you. Maybe you work together on certain things. So I think there's a lot of benefit, and there's a lot of potential. They just aren't actualizing that potential at the moment. And so it is why I stay on there, that, and just because I like money, and I'm actually making some right now. So anyway, that is it for me for today. Until next time, I'm just going to keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.